a couple of years ago, Simon Bradsfield-Gart had two observations. The first one, he has seen that more than 1 billion people have no electricity in the world. And when you don't have electricity at home, if you want to light your house, you need to use some techniques such as the candle or the kerosene-based system, which is quite dangerous. He had a second observation. At that time, Cambridge University had developed a new technology, and with this technology, it was quite easy and cheap to build some solar panels. Okay, so using what they call the printed plastic technology. And based on those two observations, he decided to create a new business model with a value proposition, which is, okay, we will help people to light their house cheaply with the solar technology, something like this one. Okay, with this panel, you can have one lamp inside, that's fine. And they decided to, at the beginning, they considered to sell those solar installations, to have a rough idea. With this system, you spend more than 100 per year to buy the kerosene. With this system, it's maybe between $70 and $80. So it's less expensive for 1 year. And they decided to use some local vendors and local entrepreneurs to reach those people to sell those installations, trying to keep a long-term relationship with them and having revenues coming from those customers, the purchasing fees or the sales margins. This is the right-hand side of the model. And on the left-hand side, the main resources they had was the license to operate and to use the patents that the Cambridge University had before. And the key activities are first the development and the manufacturing on those panels, and they have some partners to help them to do it. And the second activity is the distribution and logistics. And those two activities have the cost, so mainly you have the manufacturing cost and the distribution cost. This is roughly the business model they had to consider at the beginning. But very quickly, they have seen that those people here, even if on the long term this solution could be less expensive than this one, you need an upfront investment. You had to pay to buy those installations. And when you consider that the revenues of those people is roughly $3, to buy $100 or $80 for this one could be considered as a main issue. And now I will use the value proposition canvas. I will focus here. We will try to understand the profile of those customers, and we will see how A19 decided to change the value proposition and finally the business model for reaching those customers and to offer this value proposition. So I will use the value proposition canvas for first sketching out the profile of the customers, the rural African consumers interested in this electricity in their house. And based on this profile, we will try to see how they have created or redesigned a completely new value proposition. We will start first with the customer's job. If you want to light your house, it's an activity that you have to do, but you need also to buy those installations. It's another activity that you have to do. And finally, you have to maintain those installations. And most of the time, it represents that you have to find and to buy the kerosene. It's the main job that you have to do. And when you do those kind of things, you have some fears, or what we call the pains, for those customers. One of them is the danger of the oil-based or kerosene-based lighting. The danger is the fire. And the second one is the upfront investment. We have seen that it's an issue. The installation, the electricity installation is roughly 100, so it's a big issue. And finally, even if you rent those installations, the easy payment is another pain you could have. Why? Because the banking system is not really developed, and so it's not so easy to pay back your loan if you want. But you have also some expectation. The main expectation for most of those people is to have the reduced expenses. It's one of the main things. So they hope that with some system it could be less expensive than with the oil system or the kerosene systems. A second expectation you could have is, okay, we will be able to light a house using the kerosene, but for example, charging a cell phone is not easy with kerosene. It's not possible. So it's something that you could hope to have to charge a cell phone, and if you have the electricity, this one is fine. And sometimes, okay, one lamp could be enough at the beginning, but you could increase in your needs and maybe to have 2 lamps, 3 lamps, maybe television or something more. This is the profile of the customers that they have detected at that time. And based on this one, they have created a new product, a new service. This service is called Indigo. So I will put that here and I will try to explain. So first, you buy the installation with the panels, the lamps, and a small box here. Then you need to buy some scratch cards, and for $1 you have the electricity for 1 week. So you just have to punch the number on your scratch card using these boxes here. And finally, if you bought 80 scratch cards, you own the system. The system is unblocked and you can use electricity for free for your life. So we will use now the 2 different pieces here, what we call the pain relievers and the gain creators. So keep in mind that here is cheap solar-based electricity, and this system is called the Indigo kit. Here, the pain relievers. It's safe and easy install. So it's safe, why? Because it's electricity, no danger of fire. Second, since you lease the installation, it's a way to remove this pain because you don't have to invest. You put just 10 for deposit at the beginning, which is roughly the consumption of kerosene for 1 month. And finally, with the scratch card, it's a way of dealing with this issue because the scratch card, you can buy this at the vendor and it's not necessary to have a banking system. And finally here as gain creator, okay, so yes, it's cheaper. So the first year is roughly half of the consumption of kerosene here, and after 1 year and a half, it's for free. So it's much cheaper. And finally, it's not only possible to light your house with this system, but you have also a USB plug, and so you can charge your phone. So it's no more necessary to go downtown and trying to find internet cafe or something else. And finally, they have also a system. After 80 system, you can also upgrade the system for having more light, more USB plugs, or maybe some in the future television, enough watt to have energy for the television. This is roughly the new value proposition they have created, but it means that they had to change a little bit the business model that we have seen before. I will try to explain this minor modification they have introduced in the business model that they had initially designed. Okay, so based on the value proposition we have just designed before, I will show the minor modification they have introduced in this business model. You remember the idea was to sell the solar installation, but because of the upfront investment, it was not possible when they have tested with the customers. So they decided to come with what they call the Indigo kit. So you have this Indigo kit for $10 and then you use the scratch cards. So it means that everything here is the same, but the revenue model is completely different. You have 2 revenue streams. The first one is the $10 deposit, and then you have 80 repetitive scratch cards, so it means it's a recurrent revenue. This is the modification on the right-hand side. And finally here, because you have at the beginning those installations that you lease, it means that you belong the solar energy installation. It's a resources now you have because you need to manage the inventory of those installations. And so it means also that from a financing point of view, a funding point of view, it was necessary to increase a little bit the money that they need to be able to operate this business model. But based on this business model, it seems that it's becoming popular in the west side of Africa, such as Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda. So it's the reason why they have changed the business model that we have seen here in orange compared to the yellow one. That was the initial idea of the business model.